Today's video is sponsored by Jackery. Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. Man, is it a hot one today. It is brutal. It's about 95, maybe 96 degrees, but the good news is we have a great video for you. I'm not sure if it's going to be today's video, but sooner or later we'll have a great video for you. I'm flying through some logs here today with the Evo to make room for more logs tomorrow. That's right, I'm getting a load of white pine. And the only reason I'm taking them is because they're good logs. They're coming from Pete, Nuts 319, and we don't often get white pine. Mostly what I have available is hardwoods, and it would be nice to have some white pine to go along with the red pine that we have. So we got a load of that coming tomorrow morning. I need to make room for that, and then we'll saw a couple thousand board feet of that and just kind of put it away. What else we got going on? We're gonna go out to my buddy Chris Martin's. I think, if it all works out, he's the one with the iDry kiln. Not like mine. I have the air. He has the vacuum kiln, and he's going to get certified to sell firewood legally, kiln dried firewood. He already kiln dries it, but he's got someone coming out to certify what he's doing, and I want to figure out all that kind of stuff because I'm going to be needing to do the same thing. And what we're doing here with the split force, Levi got some more IBC totes ready. Tomorrow he's going to split some more bundle firewood. So we set the split force up right here. The bundle wood is like ultra premium, really nice stuff. So anything that is not perfect basically will go up the conveyor into the bulk firewood pile. everything that is bundle grade will get stacked into IBC totes. And that stuff looks like this right here. Split small, bark free, nice and clean. We keep it under roof. After it air dries for 6 or 7 months, we put it in the kiln. That's the plan. And as far as the kiln goes, Concrete with the Hosses poured that pad about 9 days ago. They said wait about 10 days before I set the container on it. We'll probably wait a couple more and we'll get the container moved onto the pad. Neighbor Derek has a plasma cutter. We'll cut the hole in the side for the dry air. Electrician. It's coming together. Another couple weeks probably. It'll all be up and running. So with that being said, right now, I'm going to sort through that pile of logs right there. I'll separate out the white oak. I got some cherry and walnut. I'm not going to move the whole pile, but that'll be a nice spot for the load of white pine coming tomorrow. When those logs come in, you know, I usually get like mixed loads. So it's best to kind of go through them, and then you know what you got, and you can put it where you want it. I moved some of those logs out of the way. I will touch that up tomorrow morning, but we got plenty of room here for that load of white pine tomorrow. With that being said, I'll report back tomorrow morning. I'm headed up to the building right now. That feels like a meat locker. We got the AC cranking in there. It is first thing in the morning. Got a big old load of white pine here. Probably about 4,000 board feet here, I'm guessing, when it's all said and done. Maybe even a little bit more. I like this size of log right here. I can handle a bigger log, but these are right in the sweet spot. Yeah, about 22 inches in diameter. That's probably about an average. Maybe 20 to 22. Makes a lot of lumber in a hurry, but they're not so big that you know, you're wrestling them around or anything. If anyone needs any white pine, let me know. I'm gonna have lots of it. That one's 19 inches in diameter. Earlier, I mentioned that today's video was sponsored by Jackery, and I'm gonna do my best in the next 90 seconds to tell you almost everything you need to know. All right, let's talk Jackery power stations. There's a bunch of differences in sizes, but they're not all created equal. This one right here, starting small, this is the Explorer 1000. Kind of the sweet spot for weekend campers or just keeping the fridge and a few things going in a power outage. Around 1,000 watt hours of capacity, super portable, and easy to throw in the back of your truck and go. Now you're moving up to a whole different class. This is the Explorer 2000 Plus. This one's expandable, you can add extra batteries, and it cranks out up to 3,000 watts continuous. So if you're running bigger tools, an RV, or want something serious to back up at home, this one could do it. Then you have the Home Power 3000. It's built for home backup. You're looking at 3,000 watt hours right out of the box. It can take a surge up to 6,000 watts. So this is your house's refrigerator, microwave, even a window AC kind of a unit. For power outages, definitely heavier, not as easy to move around as, say, the 1000. Now lastly, I've got the big dog, and it's inside. And this is the Jackery Explorer 5000 Plus. I have this one hooked up to the smart transfer switch. This unit provides backup power for the building. I've got 6 circuits on this, all the essentials. So as far as what I use these for, the 1000 is kind of my day-to-day go-to whenever I need power where there is none. The 2000 and the 3000, I use those to power the cabin or emergency backup here at home. And as I already mentioned, the 5000 is for emergency backup power here in the building. But something else worth a mention, if you want, all you got to do is unplug it. It's got wheels if you want to take all that power with you. But anyway, if you want more information on Jackery, there will be a link in the description. Highly recommend them. Check it out. All right, so I'm out here at Chris Martin's. We're going to learn about becoming USDA certified for firewood, right?
Yeah. The state inspectors just left, got us prepped up, got the probes installed. So we're going to get these baskets filled up, get it cranked up, and then hopefully in the next week to 2 weeks for this stuff, they'll come back out, they'll collect the probes, fill out all the paperwork, get our signatures on it, and then fire it up the ladder, the corporate ladder over there to get it federally.
So basically, these were state people that came out, and they do all the legwork. This is what the probes look like here. And they got one in each basket in different parts of the basket. And this will record the internal temperature, right? Yeah. It takes an internal temperature every 5 minutes. And then it'll log it so they can pull it off their computer. And there'll be 3 of those they have in, and one that does ambient temperature, right? Yeah. They put it in this stack. They've got it. It's not in the center. It's just laying there. Okay. And so they'll come back after the kiln runs the cycle, retrieve those, and download all the data. So they'll download the data, interpret it, make sure that they can see a steady incline. The one thing that they were worried about, not worried about, but they said they were joking about, it's like, don't throw it in your oven. Say, oh yeah, I got it to 212, and then because they're going to see that spike in temperature, on their charts. So. So that's the goal. We'll get this thing loaded up. Out here in the sun today, it may hit 212 at the rate that it's going. I know, man. If it gets too dry, it might spark up. I know. And so most of the wood you got right here, we call it a pizza wood, the small brios, small solos. Now with your pizza oven, you're finding you like cherry and maple better than oak, right? I do. I like it better for temperature control. The oak it gets really hot real quick, and it stays hot, right? So then that pizza stone ends up burning the bottom of our dough. So we found that for us, lower temperature and just a little bit longer. I mean, like 15 to 20 seconds longer. In the oven, it just produces a better pie. So the whole point of all this is to be able to ship the mini firewood, which is like this stuff over here. And I don't know if we covered it already, but those were state people. They do the legwork, just so there's no confusion. But you will become USDA certified, which is on a federal level, right? But the state people do the legwork, then they sign off on it. You sign it, then it goes to the feds, and then they sign off on their results. Exactly right. That's the way I understood it. So with that, as many hands as it has to touch, we're talking, a couple weeks after they pick up the probes to maybe a month or so. Yeah, and all states, I don't know if it's the same way in all states. I don't know. I don't think so. So here in PA, it is the Department of Agriculture in PA that does this. Right. Didn't it used to be Food and Drug or something, or not Food and Drug? What's the other one? I don't know, but it's U.S. Agriculture. And these same people are the ones that kind of regulate the movement of plants, though.
Right. Yeah. So the one lady that was here was talking about, she has like all of the Lowe's and big box stores that she has to go through and make sure that they're staying, within the regulations. And
yeah. What are some of the spotted lanternfly, emerald ash borer?
Yeah. And what was that other one? I forget what the name was. Something moth. I can't remember.
Yeah, some kind of moth.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so many invasive insects, invasive plants. It's just a constant battle with everything, and they're doing their best to my fear is the damage is done. There's no real way of stopping it, you know what I mean? But maybe slow it down. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thought too. It's like, all right, we have the hoops that we have to jump through, so
yeah. But you have that stamp, and you'll be legal to ship across state lines. And some of the states have different requirements as well. So like I said, what we're telling you is what Chris is going through here in Pennsylvania. But your first step, if you'd like to do something like this, would probably be to reach out to your Department of Agriculture, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Department of Agriculture, and at least they can put you in the right direction. That's the way I went about it, because the inspector's number wasn't listed on any website. I talked to some director. He sent me to another department. And
how responsive were they once you got a hold of the right people?
Like within 24 hours, like even from the initial email that I sent out, and they were all very helpful. Like that wasn't, what I was anticipating was, a lot of pushback, or just because I'm such small time, I don't have like a 10,000 board foot kiln.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they've treated me with great respect, you know what I mean? And like super helpful, and they would answer questions.
Yeah, they're very friendly, very helpful.
Yeah.
Since they're like state employees and stuff, we can't really film them, but we're just trying to do a recap of what you learned so far.
Right.
But yeah. Well, it smells good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the kiln, this is his eye dry. What model's this?
It's the standard.
Standard eye dry. It's about, 18 feet long?
Yeah, about that. We can, the dryable space is, I always tell people 4 foot by 12 foot 8. You can do 50 inches by like 13 foot if it's cut perfectly. But, we were drying mostly slabs, and they're always irregularly shaped. So
yeah, you're never going to get it.
I always allow myself that buffer. So 12 foot 8 got you 2 inches on the inside and then 2 inches at the door.
And the key for this mini stuff is just tossed in there. It gets a little bit more airflow, correct?
Yeah. So you got less. I mean, it's not really that much less wood. It's the amount of wood that's in here because it's so small. There's a lot less void spaces, but you can see that there still exists, and that allows that air to penetrate and get to that center.
Now, 2 weeks or a week in the kiln, or 2 weeks, whatever the time is. What's it reading on the outside, and what's it reading on the inside?
So the this stuff was in there for 10 days, and it's reading on the outside was like 8 to 10%.
Man, that's dry.
Yeah, it's very dry, and target is 20%. For firewood. This stuff, because you can also use it for kindling. You want it dry. I mean, this stuff real small stuff that doesn't take anything, right? Yeah, it dries so quickly. But yeah, like I'd like to get it down into like the single digits if I can.
Yeah.
But I mean, like cherry, maple dries real fast. You're talking 7 to 10 days in this thing. Yeah. Yeah,
the smaller the wood, the quicker it's going to dry. I found even oak stickers. I prefer oak for stickers. I cut them out of nice straight logs. Everyone says I'm wasting a log, but I don't want a bunch of knots, and then your stickers are going all over the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wasting a log, but you're protecting your investment. You know what I mean? So I think it's worth it.
But the oak, we actually stack and sticker our stickers. You know what I mean? And let those air dry. But literally, even the center of those will get down to 20% in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Just air drying. Yeah. Because it's only 1 inch by 1 inch.
Right. And I mean, like when you got this, firewood and whatnot, you got, 3-4 different sides that are getting rid of your moisture, even especially with stickers. And you can just small.
Tell by the sound of it when you drop that.
Yeah. And then something new that we've done was the chicken wire on these baskets. Obviously to keep it from falling out. And it does a really good job. And then we bungee cord, so then we can pull this thing down. Now we got access to hand unload it, because everything gets hand unloaded. Fortunately, we always want to touch the wood less, but
Yep.
Kind of have to.
It's all wood's the same. The more you touch it, the more money you make, but the more you touch it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just the way it is.
I know. Yeah. The smaller you make it, the more you can charge for it too.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I hope that gives you some idea. I learned a lot here today just listening to them talk and
me too.
the whole process, you know. It can be a little daunting for people, I'm sure, having to call and, you know, all that stuff and figure it out. But, yeah. So you're going to load up those 3 baskets. They'll be back in a couple weeks to collect the probes.
Yep.
And then we'll report back with Chris and when you get all certified and everything.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. So I just got back from Chris's place. I learned a few things, and that is good. But I would say, you know, if you want to start selling firewood and shipping it, contact your local or contact your Department of Agriculture, and they'll point you in the right direction. I'm sure it's pretty close the way they do things in each state, but it's probably a little bit different as well. I got mixed feelings on the whole thing. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to prevent the spread of all these damaging insects out there, but it's kind of like the genie is already out of the bottle. That's not saying you shouldn't, like, not try, right? But I don't know if there's much you can do about it. Like the emerald ash borer, been around a long time, killed all the ash trees. I mean, some places are still growing. It's a shame, it really is. Spotted lanternfly. Last year we had more of those than we have this year, but I think it's still kind of early. So we'll see what it looks like later in the summer. But yeah, and as far as bundled firewood goes, I believe, I'm not sure, if you're just selling local, I don't think it's a big deal. But as you know, every time you see bundle firewood from a big producer, like at a big box store, it's all kiln dried, heat treated, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think our kiln will be used probably, everything is subject to change, but 50-50. Probably half the time for firewood, half the time for lumber. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. But the bigger things get and the more you do, the more red tape you have to go through, you know? And it's just the way it is. If you are, you know, selling some firewood bundles at a roadside stand, not a big deal. But if you start shipping it, if you start selling in more retail locations, just more to do. So you got to kind of pick and choose your battles and ask yourself if it's really worth all the hassle, or do you just stay small? I don't know the answer to that. But anyway, it's another scorcher today, that's for sure. I got some work to do inside, and then I'm going to be going down to the sawmill later today. Underneath that pavilion, it's not all bad. It's really not. And then you got that big maple tree beside it, casts a little shade down there. It's not too bad. But when you're out in the sunlight, the direct sunlight, whew, takes it right out of you. But anyway, stay cool, everybody. I hope you're having a great day, and subscribe for more.